So I was at my local Fred Meyer and I passed this palette for $6.99 and did a double take. I thought that is exactly like my Too Faced Natural Nudes palette. So I went ahead and picked it up so that I could test them to see, if the quality was even close and if it really is a dupe. So here I am starting with the Too Faced palette. I'm just going to do my usual sort of eye look with it. This was a $52 palette when I bought it, still is. The quality is pretty good, but for $52, I expected a little bit more. All of the shimmers in it got really sort of hard panned pretty quick, and they ended up not being as shimmery as what was sold. The whole reason I bought this palette is because it was a super, super shimmery, very intense looking palette. It kind of was at first, but then it hard panned out pretty quick. I could probably use some spray to make it a little more intense, but just for testing purposes, let's just do these kind of one-to-one without any special help. So, you'll see me using my fingers. I'm doing that just to make sure that I get the most shimmer out of the shimmer shades. And one of the good things about this is not a whole lot of fallout from this Too Faced palette. It is pretty dry. So, that's both good and bad. You can see that it's a little patchy, the darks. So that's kind of the bad part. All right, so now here's the Technic palette. Again, this is a $6.99 palette. I'm not expecting much. So far, this white right here is way more intense than the white on the other palette. I had to work and work and work to get anything. And this brown is warmer than the brown on the Too Faced palette, but also, look, there's a lot of fallout, and it's because it was so intensely pigmented and a little bit softer than the more hard panned palette. And again, the palette was always a little bit hard pan. All right, so let's try the shimmers. Same kind of issues. These shimmers are a tad bit more crumbly and chunky, but I would say they give close to the same amount of shimmer. I will admit that I think that the shimmers on the Too Faced palette are a tad bit more refined, meaning that they're probably just more finely milled. So let's see, we'll go in with the darks, more fallout from that, but not terrible. And again, there's so much pigment in the Technic palette that I quickly felt like I overdid it. And so I had to go back in with the white to try and get things sort of muted out so that the two sides were close to the same. So that's what I'm doing right here. It looks pretty good. These dark shades are pretty much exactly the same between the two. Really no difference in the way they perform. So I'm just checking my work, trying to make sure that things are even. Yeah, oh, I almost did it. I wanted to touch up the other side. Okay, so here's the Technic side without my other eye makeup on. And here's the Too Faced side. You can see I still have some fallout to clean up, so let's do that. Okay, fallout is cleaned up, mascara's on. All I see as a difference is that the Technic side is warmer, and I think that's because that crease shade I use is just a warmer version of the same shade from the Too Faced one. So, boy, not a whole lot of difference, certainly in the way they apply and the results you get. Here it is in natural light, so you can see the shimmer a little bit better. Boy, really, really comparable. And for $7 for one versus $52 for the other, if you can find this Technic palette, which might be kind of hard because as far as I know, only Fred Meyer carries them, and you can buy them in England from the Technic website. Either way, these are both good palettes. Highly recommend. If you can find the Technic palette, go for it.